Let's look at the problem. The screen gives us so many fractions and asks us to add them up. Is it easy to calculate them directly? No, it's not. Why? Because their denominators are different. If we try to find a common denominator directly, it's actually quite troublesome. So how can we calculate this cleverly? Although, pay attention here, their denominators are different. I can break down each denominator first. All right, so how do we break these down? For example, the first fraction, 1/2, I can break its denominator into 1 times 2. Next, for the second fraction, I break its denominator into 2 times 3. Then, the third fraction is broken down into 3 times 4. Everyone, take a look and see if there's any connection between two adjacent fractions. Notice the second factor in the denominator of the previous fraction. What's the relationship between that and the first factor in the denominator of the next fraction? They're the same, right? In a moment, we'll use this to help us calculate. Moving on, for the next fraction, you should know how to break it down by now. Break it into 4 times 1/5, then the next one into 5 times 1/6, and the one after that into 6 times 1/7. And what about the next one? Break it into 7 times 1/8. All right, next comes the sequence of fractions we're familiar with. Director Yu has talked about this many times. If anyone isn't familiar with it, you can check out my previous videos on my homepage. I won't go into detail here. Now, how do we practice simplifying? For example, the first one, 1 times 1/2, can be broken down into 1 minus 1/2, right? What about the next one? Add 1/2 minus 1/3. See, I've broken this fraction into the form of 2 unit fractions being subtracted, right? Next, add 1/3 minus 1/4, then add 1/4 minus 1/5, and then add 1/5 minus 1/6, and then add 1/6 minus 1/7, and finally add 1/7 minus 1/8. Actually, when I write it out this long, what happens to the middle part? Doesn't it all cancel out? For example, minus 1/2 plus 1/2 cancels out, then minus 1/3 plus 1/3. Are there any more that can be canceled out after that? Yes, look, the 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, and 1/7 terms can all be canceled out, right? So this entire long expression ultimately becomes 1 minus 1/8. Let's write it out. 1 minus 1/8 equals 7/8. That's 87.5%. This way, the problem is easily solved. I suggest you give this a like and save it to watch a few more times. Otherwise, if you want to use such a useful method again, you might not be able to find it. If you want to learn more and better study methods, you can follow Director Yu. With Director Yu, we'll have 1 lesson a day to help you score a perfect 100.